Hey gamers, welcome back to another episode of the Daily Dose. My name is XONEVANT, and this is my what I liked about the Xbox One video. I did this back when the PlayStation 4 did their reveal, and you guys seem to like it a lot, and I promised you I would do it for the Xbox as well. And I'm probably going to reserve my judgment for a comparison video until after E3, once we know all the details and specs and all that kind of stuff for all the systems. But for now, let's just talk about the reveal. So there was really only one thing that I really liked about the Xbox reveal, and that was the exclusive titles. I did like the fact that Xbox has, invested money in the studios and invested money into writers and things to get some exclusives out. They mentioned that there was going to be 15 exclusive titles coming out within the first year that the system launches, and 8 of those were going to be brand new IPs, brand new, characters, environments, worlds, whatever. That's kind of exciting, but the only problem is that they didn't actually state any of the titles. They didn't really talk about any of the studios that we're going to be working on. I think they may have mentioned 1 or 2, but not enough for me to say, okay, I really want to get this system for this particular game. And I could honestly probably end this video right here, because that is the extent of what I liked about today's reveal. There was really nothing about the rest of this reveal that made me even remotely excited about buying a console from Xbox this time around. And let me explain. So they started off their conference with, with a pretty big bang. They went straight into showing us the console, which I thought was a smart move, being as Sony did not show their console at their event. And the console does look really good. It's a little bit big. It's actually pretty big. It seems that way. Now, obviously, you're looking at it on camera, so things do appear a little bit different, but it seems like a pretty big device. They said it was going to be practically quiet, which who knows what that actually means, right, in this day and age, but they did say it was going to be practically quiet. And then they go into like a 25-minute, this is at the main beginning of their reveal, it's about a 25 or 30-minute demo about the dashboard, which pretty much looks the same with a couple new features than what you already have on your Xbox 360 dashboard. And then they also did some Kinect demos, which I'll get to that at the end of the commentary, because I have something particular I want to talk with you guys about that. But they basically just did that for about 25 minutes. They showed off that you can basically do things like, if you like fantasy football, you can bring up fantasy football on the right hand side of the screen and then watch the sports event on the left hand side of the screen. And let me go ahead and say this, I'm not a fantasy football player, and I know some of you guys probably are, but can't you do that already? And I'm not meaning like do it on your TV screen, but if you have like a mobile device or a laptop, you can kind of already do that, right? Like you can kind of already look at your smartphone and see your fantasy football stats while you watch the TV, right? I called my brother to kind of verify this whole thing, because I don't do fantasy football. And he was like, yeah, I do it all the time. He talks to people in Hawaii all the time. And he's like, we just pull up our phones and we just watch the game and we chat on our phones and do all our stuff. And I'm like, would you buy an Xbox One for that feature? And he was like, no, I wouldn't spend, upwards of $300 to be able to do that. He said, I have a 44-inch TV in my home. Why would I want my screen reduced to, let's say, a 38-inch dimension while something's hanging on the right-hand side of my screen? He was like, I would rather just see my, my event in full screen, right? Because that's what I bought my TV for, was to see it in, that big of a screen. So he wasn't really sold on that. They also talked about things like being able to pull up like a guide to see like certain TV shows while you were playing your games. And I don't know, like I can do that now. Like I have a button on my cable remote where I can pull up, a guide, and I can still see my whatever I'm playing. It'll be like a small little picture in a picture. It may not look as sleek as what they're offering with the Xbox, but I can do that now. Like that's the thing. I can do all the stuff that they showed in that first 25 minutes. I can do that right now. You see what I mean? They talked about how you can, browse the internet while you watch TV on the same screen, and that's cool. But I can do that kind of now. Like I have a TV right now that I'm looking at, that I'm doing this commentary with, and I could obviously be watching a TV show right now. I have my laptop right here beside of me on the right hand side of me. So if I wanted to do both, I could do both. Now I can't really look at one while I'm looking at the other, but why would I want to do that anyway? You see what I mean? Like it doesn't make any sense to me to be watching 2 things at once. Obviously you're going to be focused on one more than the other one anyway. So what's the harm in just turning your head a couple of inches and reading what you need to read on the internet while the TV plays in the background? Sometimes I'll actually even play games while I have something playing on Netflix in the background, and I do it, you know, while I don't see the need to spend $300 to $500 to get that perk, to get that novelty that they're probably going to be charging me for this thing. And obviously I don't think anybody knows the price yet, but I think we can all assume it's at least going to be more than $250, right? So it seems like I will be overpaying for something that I can already do right now. You see what I mean? And that was my biggest issue with it, is that I wasn't blown away, because I'm sitting here going, wait, I can do that now. I did that yesterday. You see what I mean? And I didn't have anything to hold on to there other than this promise that this thing was going to work, you know, fluidly. Now, let's kind of talk about after they did that 25 minutes. They did get into some gaming. They showed us Forza, like a trailer, which I think we all knew that. We all know that Forza's got great graphics. I mean, it does, but still no gameplay footage. At least at the PlayStation 4 conference, we did actually get some gameplay footage, Killzone and some other games, and we actually got to see games in action. Whereas with this, it was just trailers, and it was kind of non-existent because it was so overshadowed by, I don't know, TV stuff. And does anybody watch TV like hardcore anymore? I'm sure maybe your family does, but do you? Like, is your console right now in your living room? And would you want to play, like, let's say it's in your bedroom right now, would you want to unhook it, buy a new Xbox One, and put it in your living room? Like, it felt like they were just targeting a demographic that was probably working a 9 to 5 today and not even at home. And it totally missed me. Like, I honestly think that if I didn't know anything about games, and that if somebody just said, hey, watch this conference, and maybe they took all the Xbox 360 logos away and they were just showing the presentation, and they muted all the volume or whatever, I would swear that I was just at some like television expo, because that's what it felt like. They kept going from, this is how you can do stuff on your TV, to, you know, then they went to the franchise, they went to the television series with Halo, and that's cool. And let's say that the new Halo TV series is exclusive to Xbox One members only. Would you pay $300 to $500 for that perk? You see what I mean? Like, that's the only thing that's blowing my mind about this whole thing, is that there was nothing that they showed me that I would pay that amount of money for. It's kind of like going out and buying a $75,000 car, and yeah, you're gonna look cool driving that thing, but you're gonna go from point A to point B pretty much the same as somebody who goes out and buys a $10,000 car. You're gonna look cooler getting there, and I guess some people are ready to throw down that kind of cash, but not me. I'd rather save that $65,000. You see what I mean? And you get my, it's like an example. I'd rather save that money, you know, and buy something else, or buy games or something like that. So I just wasn't sold on anything. And it's crazy, because really the one thing that I remember vividly from the conference, other than the 15 exclusives, was the Call of Duty stuff. And I'm not really even a Call of Duty guy, but I do kind of follow it, and I play it sometime online, but I'm not like a hardcore dude. I haven't played the other games or anything like that. That's really what I remember the most, because it made a lot of leaps, right? I mean, if you are a Call of Duty fan, you do have to be impressed at some of the graphical stuff they're doing. I mean, it was some pretty solid stuff. And they got some Crysis 3 kind of mechanics in there with the sliding, and they got the peek and lean system from Medal of Honor, and it seems like they were trying to go for a hybrid between Crysis and Medal of Honor and Battlefield. It seemed like that's what they were going for. You know, environments that can be destroyed and stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff. And that really impressed me, that they're ready to take that leap, because I think we can all, you know, just be brutally honest that the Call of Duty franchise is kind of the same old, same old. But I shouldn't even be talking about Call of Duty right now, because this is an Xbox One video, but I have to be honest, that is the one thing that I really truly remember the most about today's conference. And it's only been, you know, it's been less than 24 hours, and that's really what I remember. And then the 15 exclusives. So, and like I said, we don't even know what the 15 exclusives are, right? They may not be AAA quote-unquote titles. They could be anything, right? They could be connected venture games that are new IPs. You see what I mean? So we don't know. 15 IPs is a lot in a year. Now let me go ahead and get to my Connect spiel right quick before I let you guys go. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist kind of guy. Like, I don't really do conspiracy. I like fact. But Something was a little bit weird to me about this reveal today, and hopefully I can show that footage on screen right now, but I may not be able to due to like copyright reasons or whatever. But if I can't show it, you know, definitely go watch it. When he was doing the Kinect stuff in the first 25 minutes of the video, did you guys notice that every single time he talked to the Kinect that his hands were in his pocket? Really, his left hand was in his pocket. And I do a lot of video editing. I've done presentations before. I've built presentations for people who are doing stuff live on stage. I mean, that's kind of what I've done. And I've done presentations like this before, and it's not uncommon for live events to do this. Like, I've been to gaming conferences before where, you know, they'll put a guy up on stage with a controller in his hand, but he's not really playing the game. The video is behind him, and all he's doing is just kind of moving the sticks, and you can tell it if you really look at it. His reactions are a little bit funny versus what's happening in the game, and you can just tell that it's a little bit unrealistic. But it's, you know, it's whatever, right? But if you're selling me a console that its sole premise is to be able to communicate with me because I'm communicating with it either through hand gestures or voice recognition, the last thing that I want to see is a guy digging into his pockets every single time he talks. You see what I mean? Because it leads me to believe that he had some kind of clicker in his pocket that was just moving video, like moving slides along. And I'm not saying that he did it, but it seemed that way. And if that's the case, it's for one or two reasons. One, that obviously they're just doing what normal conferences do, right? They're just making sure that nothing goes wrong during their live event and making sure that things flow. Because the last thing you want, right, is for you to say Xbox on and that sucker doesn't turn on, right? But the other reason is that they were basically making sure that none of the tech failed, right? I don't know. I'm not saying that that's the case, but it seemed fishy. I put it up on my Facebook, and a lot of people said, oh yeah, you know, now that you mention it, that he kind of did keep doing that. And that's an unnatural thing for somebody to, you know, keep putting their hands in their pocket just because they're saying something. That's not something you would normally do. And it seemed like every time he wasn't talking, his hands were out of his pocket. It just seemed a little bit too convenient and a little bit too staged. And I don't know if it was as fast. I just don't know if it was working in real time. Like, we don't even know if the Xbox Kinect was on, right? It's not like he did anything to show us that it was on. He just said Xbox on and the video started playing. And all that would have required is somebody back there hitting a play button on a laptop with the pre-made video with all this stuff going on. And I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm not trying to degrade that thing at all. But if you're trying to sell me a device that sole premise is responsiveness, I want to see it done, and I want to see it done live, and I don't really want to be fooled about it. Because you got to think about it, guys. If you go out and you spend, I'm just going to say upwards of $250, because I think we can all, you know, pretty much guarantee that it's going to be more than $250. If you buy this thing and you get home and that Kinect is not as responsive as it's supposed to be, and you're talking to it but it's not doing what you want it to do, then you have just bought a glorified 360, right? Your graphics have improved, but if you can't talk and interact with your machine, what do you actually have, right? You've got a 360, upgraded 360 with a new dashboard, but you have no ability to communicate with your Xbox, at least the way that they want you to, because your Kinect is broken, right? And God forbid you have children and you do actually put this console in the living room and they knock it over, or you have a cat or a dog and it decides it wants to climb for a minute and knock this thing over, this very expensive device, right? We don't even know how much this thing is going to cost if something does happen to your Xbox and you have to go out, or your Kinect, and you have to go out and get another Kinect device. I mean, the Kinect was pretty pricey when it first came out, right? And it was old technology, right? It's old technology by today's standards, but it was pricey. So what are we buying here? Are we buying something that's really like the next gen thing, or are we buying something that's strictly cosmetic and a novelty that maybe will shave, I don't know, a couple of seconds off your day searching for something? Is it worth that amount of money? And that's what I want the discussion to be about. I don't know, man. You know, I have more questions now than I did before. When Sony did their press conference, I still had a little bit of questions, but they answered a majority of my major hitters, and I was sold on their technology and where they were going. But with Xbox, I have no clue. I mean, I know they're after the TV market, but I don't watch TV. You know what I mean? So it totally missed me, guys. Maybe it didn't miss you. Please let me know in the comments below. I will be, reading. You guys know I love responding to comments. So for the next 2 or 3 days, I'll be making sure that I respond to all these comments, and let's just discuss it. Like, nobody's right or wrong. Be respectful, please. You know, this is not me telling you that you can't like this thing, but I am telling you why I didn't like it. And I think that I have some pretty valid points, but if I messed up, I'd love to hear yours. Like I said, after E3, I'll put out another video, and maybe my mindset has changed. I'm sure that it will, right? I hope that they give us some more stuff. But right now, if I had to choose right now where to put my money, I'd be saving for the PS4. So you guys have a very good day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Be good.